Burrito.
Hey.
I've ever wondered what happens when a fellow who suddenly joins Roblox game?
That's me. But we're gonna be going into these Roblox lobbies and deviously trolling Robloxians with the most unexpected voice change of the century by turning off my voice changer.
Can we do a Roblox connection? Your skin. Glow. I was just wondering, can I have a picture here? Just give me one chance. Yeah. A picture here?
Got murder drones and in the back doing a backflip. That's not Frick. I can't rap. I can't rap.
Well, I thought that was really impressive.
That was pretty funny. We got a.
Greetings, mortal. Want to sell?
Oh, hi.
Come on! We're starting the ultimate dance-off, and sadly we dance!
Go,
What's that beat?
Where's your father now? Did he teach you to run this slow?
It's 3:15? No, it can't be right. I swear I just looked at this thing. Feels like the hands keep slipping away from me. Why can't I remember? Every minute's getting louder in my head. Remember the time. I can't remember the time. I keep trying to pull it up and it's just not there. I can't remember the...
You know why I pulled you over? And you can't see the boat. Everybody says that. Actually, sir, you're doing 40 and a 25 and you don't have any lights on. We have lights. They're just invisible. Show me your license and okay. You don't want no stuff. Walk with us. Hold up, what it is, man. We running this corner, we running the next. Anybody got a problem? Step up. Since they were cold. We keep moving. Let's keep. You know why I stopped you?
Was I speeding? I didn't see a sign back there.
You were doing almost 70 and a 55 and you're flying a vehicle without any license.
Right. It's a magic pocket.
You scored your 67th career rushing touchdown today. How do you feel?
In November 2022, an unknown killer was on the loose in Idaho, and Reynolds was determined to track them down. On the morning of Sunday, 13th, police received a frantic 911 call from a student home near the University of Idaho. A girl in the house seemed to be unconscious and not responding. And when officers arrived, they discovered that the student in question wasn't unconscious. He was dead. Her boyfriend is found in the room with her, also dead. And in another bedroom on the third floor, 2 more students dead. With 4 students killed, no news, and rumors of a masked stranger being seen leaving the house earlier that morning. They felt chaos to the community. But after weeks of no updates or any sign leads the stranger looking for the killer, residents decided to take matters into their own hands, moving they had the resources, money, and dedication to find the person responsible for the deaths of 4 university students. After all, they solved cases before. Now, of course, there was a conflict Boston violence in 2013 and the disaster, but sure, they learned from their mistakes and didn't make the same one this time around, right? But nearly a decade had passed since Reddit's disastrous marathon. No longer we call home for armed care detectives. TikTok's and its leads were also convinced that the official investigation was going nowhere and that they and to help get the job done. But when helping the police turns into a frantic race to see who is directly identify the culprit first, will anyone win? Or will it at least become the most destructive game of America? We just... It had been less than 24 hours since officers found the bodies. The Moscow police wasted no time. On November 14th, they announced that 4 students were their lives would be raped from them. Ethan Chapman, Madison Mokin, Zena Konoval, and Kaylee Gonzalez. The University of Idaho had already confirmed a likely homicide on its Facebook page, but the police didn't want to commit to anything this early. They believed that panicking the local community would only make their investigation more difficult. Therefore, their official statement was restrained. The Moscow police does not believe there is an ongoing community risk based on information gathered during the preliminary investigation. But this isn't entirely true. In the original 911 call made by one of the 2 surviving roommates, they claimed that they had seen some man who had broken into the house. However, when authorities investigated the scene, they found no signs of the break-in. But all 4 victims had visible scar marks, many of them defensive. The police decided not to release the 911 call or mention any details from the scene, but they knew the initial statement had to be adjusted. Just 1 day after that initial statement, a police spokesperson stated that they had no suspects, but were looking for an edge difference such as a knife, believed to have been used in the killings. The killer was still out there. On November 16th, Police Chief James Fry called a press conference to clarify the messaging. We do not have a suspect at this time, and that individual is still out there. We cannot say there is no threat to the community, and as we have stated, please stay vigilant, report any suspicious activity, and be aware of your surroundings at all times. They clearly wanted to assure the public that they're safe, but instead, these statements suggested that they didn't know what they were doing. A public perception that would end up causing chaos for many involved in the investigation. The next day, the media descended on this quiet college town, seeking out anyone willing to be. The mayor of Moscow, Mark Becker, was one of the first to ask. With a crime of this magnitude, it's very difficult to work with. Overall assessment is that it's a crime of passion. If this business statement that the police had approved, it was pure speculation on the part of the mayor, within hours. Back in front of the cameras, walking back his comments. It could be any number of things. The police don't know yet. I haven't been told. The next day, on November 17, 2022, officials finally announced the deaths as homicides. So at this point, all the public knew was that 4 students had been murdered in their home and 2 other students had survived. This time, investigators of course knew a lot more. For example, that all of the victims had defensive stab wounds on their bodies. They specifically avoided mentioning that to the public. The careful gatekeeping of information and quick collection of facts suggested to authorities didn't want these cases on a trial-by-neutral situation. The Little County Forum back in that made no such promise and released some of their findings to the media. While more from a staff were largely not. The case was already filed on the way. Lack of information stoked curiosity. True crime enthusiasts were starting to see a mirror forming a crime of passion, homicide committed with a knife, being investigated by an uncoordinated and huge police department. Whether that was true is irrelevant. The contradictory press files cemented their belief that the case could only be solved by working with people like them. The case began trending on TikTok with hashtags Idaho4, Idaho Nerds, and Idaho Murder Theme. User who sent things the scene not only to cover the story for their networks, produce social media content that would compete with TikTok and true crime creators. The situation quickly became a media-feeding frenzy. TV journalists and creators were sharing up-to-the-minute details faster than any traditional media could, getting the word how the town was reacting to the chaos and how the crime scene was changing daily. On Reddit, the case became so popular that users created a dedicated community to keep up with the news. All Moscow notice. Within weeks of the incident, subreddit had grown over 80,000 members, with more joining every day to discuss the latest developments and speculations spanning the case. Initially, the posts were collaborative, with users working together to make sense of the house's rating and how 2 students managed to survive. But in the subsequent weeks after the murders, the silence from the police began taking its toll on everyone, including the parents to the victims. Here on the Debbie said, it was so very Debbie, you can say. Then they slowly peeled back later until you finally realized it. What was the use in telling the community that it felt like nothing was loose instead of just coming out and telling us that it was a knife that we can do it? Not holding the integrity of the case together by not telling anybody anything. But then, on November 21st, the authorities released information about the 911 call. They confirmed that the call came from one of the two surviving roommates. But they also revealed that the survivors had called friends to the house for assistance before contacting first responders, allegedly because they initially believed one of the victims was just passed out rather than dead from multiple stab wounds. The new information revealed the confidential when the rumors of a massive food and details of the crime scene. But they did reveal the 911 call was made at 11:58 a.m. while the victims were believed to have been killed at some point between 3 and 4 a.m. That left an almost 9-hour gap between the time of the murder and the 911 call. Twitter immediately lit up with random speculation. Technically, you consider two people that were not named as suspects. If the murder took place at 4 a.m. and the 911 call at noon, that's a long time to get cleaned up. One of the roommates did it, using all of her social media. Seems suspicious. Yet one president made his profit. That seems appropriate. See what I'm saying? He was hard not to wonder. Most people see that when presented with a situation like that, he would call 911 right away, and thus, these survivors were in effect in prime suspects in the public eye. On November 19, 2022, the New York Times released a report featuring new information not officially released. Davis, Olivia, an older sister of one of the victims, contacted her sister's phone director and obtained her phone records, which she wanted to share with the world. That was revealed that in the early morning hours of November 13th, the night of the attack, her sister Kate made 7 calls to her longtime boyfriend, Jack. The first at 2:26 a.m., followed by 6 more every 26 minutes, ending at 2:52 a.m. Working the fifth because he was time at 4 and other roommates minutes. Jack was a University of Idaho student who had been in a 5-year relationship, which ended 3 weeks before the attacks. They shared a dog, which was apparently in the house for 10 years, and according to the survivors, some reason was not found, or raised no line or the incident. In the eyes of social media sleuths, Jack being a recent ex of one of the victims would theoretically give him a motive to commit a crime of passion, and being a past owner of the dog would give an explanation of why it did bark or think of the assailant as a stranger. All of this being a prime suspect for the online community. 100% Jack to absolutely be personal interest. He had a mission. Bailey was living her best life no different than the Bill Simpson. And Jack, a baby, wasn't really letting me down. He's your guy. Jack was able to become the popular suspect on TikTok, with people even doing deep dives to the great and big with motivation.
He is the ex-boyfriend, and it is speculated that he actually went to their house. Now, does he have a motive? In my opinion, yes. Does he have access to the house? In my opinion, yes. So I will be adding him to my list.
For Kaylee's family, his actions, Jack is just as distraught as we are. Jack is our family. Jack is 1,000%, 2,000% our family. And Jack is with us. Stand behind him 100%. Kaylee's life was a media that Jack and Kaylee had waited for years and were on track to end the trial after some kind of happened. People would eventually have gotten married, but children may be unlikely. Their actions that we would hope. It will not seem time of day if they know. The mystery is very small, but it shows you that it sometimes feels picture when the murder and victimized place of the family, being a shock at the loss of a loved one. Sometimes the character is pulled in place in a subconscious reflex to not losing them, and to keep the essence of the beloved victim close. Online detectives hounded Jack, and in an interview with the New York Post, his aunt suggested that he was struggling to handle the overwhelming hatred coming his way. She spoke about how devastated he was by the news, his sadness about the situation, stating their split was amicable and that they were still friends. But none of that could stop the accusations. Our Moscow Murders was now one of the highest-ranking subreddits, but the increased attention led to more moderation and a focus on facts. In response, additional subreddits like Idaho 4 and Idaho Murders were created to discuss the case and share baseless theories without censorship. In my theory, Jack, who was significantly older than Kaylee, was actually narcissistic and controlling. There was apparently a dog in the house that must not have raised the alarm. I think he gives her an ultimatum to get back together, or he'll end himself. Classic control tactic. The fact that her parents were okay with Jack, 20, dating their daughter 16, is a red flag. He must be very charismatic and dangerous cost. These fears were so widespread and confident that Moscow police had to step in, addressing Jack's situation directly.
That seemed to be fully from he was all he called up on his food and we believed that
If law enforcement hoped their exoneration would shut down the increasingly bloodthirsty online mob, they were wrong. TikTok was full of people posting videos of the press conference, expressing their shock and confusion at what they had just seen.
It seems like he was cleared very, very quickly. Suspect of that. I really honestly think that Jack should explain that to the public. Sure, the police come out, explain why they feel Jack was not involved.
One YouTuber reporter didn't outright accuse Jack of being abusive, but she did strongly imply it.
Somebody knew the house intimately, that knew one of the victims, into the CDC. Most relationships don't start off in an abusive way, but 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men do experience intimate abuse during their lifetime. I just want to point out that we have always know what's going on in people's relationships. I'm not saying something is going on, isn't going on. But I do think that the most dangerous thing when a partner is trying to leave.
As with most high-profile cases, Jack and the roommates weren't the only targets in the internet's crosshairs. On November 18th, a clip from a previously recorded Twitch live stream surfaced, showing Madison and Katie getting a late-night snack at a food truck hours before the murder. But the internet focused on a man named Hoodie, who was seen walking behind them, and then hanging around in the background as they talked and checked their phones. In the threat, he followed them and became the next suspect of the online investigation. Some creators noticed that Katie was recorded taking some kind of selfie, raising her camera up a little higher than a typical selfie angle. They wondered, was she trying to take a photo of the hoodie guy standing behind her? Some reports claim that multiple people told the police in interviews that Katie had a stalker. This footage only made them more convinced that this rumor was true. Hoodie guy's seemingly strange behavior made him seem like a perfect fit. Investigators have looked extensively into information they received about Kaylee Gonzalez having a stalker. They have pursued hundreds of pieces of information related to this topic and have not been able to verify or identify a stalker. Moscow police never actually named Hoodie guy, but they didn't have to. Online sleuths doxed him within days of the footage being released. We're not going to share his name here because his connection to the case is undetermined, at best. On the same day, Kaylee's sister, Olivia, gave an interview with Inside Edition, saying she was doing her own investigation. She confirmed that Kaylee and Madison had gotten an Uber home from the food truck, giving the internet another potential lead. The contact groups immediately ran with the idea of the Uber driver being the culprit, particularly because he was already familiar with Kaylee, Madison, and Zena, having driven them multiple times, giving him proximity to the victims. The ever-growing list of people being accused by the internet led police to make another public statement. We do not believe the following individuals are involved in this crime. The 2 surviving roommates, a male seen at the drug truck food vendor downtown, specifically wearing a white hoodie, and a private car who provided rides home to Kaylee and Madison in the early morning hours of November 13th. While the police were trying to shut down online theories, the local community in Moscow was dealing with the reality of an unknown murderer walking freely among them. But not only were they worried and scared for their safety, they were still grieving the sudden and violent loss of 4 members of their community. To people in Moscow, Idaho, Madison, Kaylee, Zena, and Ethan were not just victims in a crime story. They were friends and loved ones. Friends knew Kaylee as the voice for people who didn't have the voice, someone who always stood up for what mattered, for what she believed in. She had graduated early and was preparing for a new start at a marketing company in Austin, Texas. Madison was a marketing major, known for her warmth and deep love of animals. Her friends and family wanted her legacy to be one of kindness, laughter, and love. Zena was also a marketing major, often described as someone who had a rare gift for lifting others up. She was someone who took any bad situation and turned it into a good one. And Ethan, one of triplets, was majoring in recreation, sport, and tourism management, and was an infectiously positive figure for his friends. People would seek him out to brighten her day. At the end of November, students and families held a vigil in honor of Ethan, Madison, Zayna, and Kaylee. For one emotional but peaceful night, the focus was not on suspects or evidence. It was about honoring these 4 innocent students who had their lives torn away. In Kaylee's father's words, the only cure to pain is love. That's the only thing that's going to heal us. That's the only thing that's going to heal you. A lesson the internet should have heeded. Meanwhile, ever since the tragedy, the University of Idaho campus had become a ghost town. Half of the students chose to stay home and take classes online. Those who stayed often relied on university-hired security staff to drive them to class because they wouldn't want to walk across campus alone. The situation also seriously worried teachers like Zachary Turco, an assistant professor at Liberty, posted to Twitter that told police release more info on the suspect. While the online manhunt showed no signs of slowing, the action investigation seemed to be at a standstill. Jim Chapin, Ethan's father, told NBC News, there is a lack of information from the University of Idaho and the local police, which only fuels false rumors and innuendo in the press and social media. The silence further compounds our family's agony after our son's murder. For Ethan and his 3 dear friends slain in Moscow, Idaho, and all our families, we urge officials to speak the truth, share what they know, find the assailants, and protect the greater community. While the official investigation continued to stay silent, social media's investigation was only getting louder. On November 22nd, 2022, a Texas-based self-proclaimed YouTube psychic, Reverend Donna Serafina Lambert, performed a detailed reading about the murders, which she said might hold the key to the killer. For 39 minutes, she made a series of highly specific claims.
Hobby House, I don't know what it is, but wherever she was working, he works a couple doors down where they make bread, pastries. I've seen more like French bread, so maybe they make sandwiches. I don't know. It feels like it's a baguette place. Like, I don't know if it's French pastries or French bread, baguette. I kind of have a feeling it's more like a family business where it is. Like, that his parents might own this business.
TikTok was already full of videos like this, with people offering random, unsourced favorites. But this one was different. The bakery details were new and too specific to appeal to the social media streets who believe in the paranormal. And I'm glad. Donna is legit. She actually described how Ryan interprets it to the team. She loved all of those beats all the time. And someone might suggest that French bakery she was cooking up, I'm definitely feeling the relapse. Yet last week began research at Birmingham Bakery selling close to me. And one thing that they were looking for was better than all others. I had seen this bakery. Although it's a family business, but this hardly local bakery wasn't a family business. The owner was unknown. And careful. The store was staffed mainly by young employees. Many of them were made very uncomfortable across an onslaught of flavors and the loafers for sandwiches. To help his running staff feel safer, the store owner was keeping the store double staffed after dark at his own house. Once the store was named on social media, place was overrun by small cars. Many didn't know because the owner turned over his non-existent son to the authorities. The store's Facebook page was getting hundreds of thousands of visits and even catering orders for made-up names like Gucci Halloween Corporate. And this store was not the only victim of the social media ritual. 2 days after Donna Serafina's video, another spiritual investigator stayed at that day. Next week, a charity, claimed to have previously solved crimes using her paranormal gifts, was asked to provide her insight. In the video she posted to TikTok, Ashley claimed that her psychic skills led her to one word that kept repeating in her mind: history. After Googling Idaho and history, Ashley claimed that she was intuitively led to the University of Idaho's History Department website, where she then spiritually inquired into the photos of each person listed on the faculty webpage. Ashley claimed that she felt a reaction to the murders from every person on the site, except for one history professor. Ashley's alleged gifts told her that the professor was involved in an inappropriate romantic relationship with her student, Kaylee Goncalves, that she had grown obsessed and unable to handle rejection, leading her to hire a hitman to execute all 4 students and cover up the affair. Even though she had no evidence for any of this, other than her feelings, this psychic TikToker started posting a series of increasingly detailed and accusatory videos targeting the professor. At no point did Ashley claim any of this to be speculation. She presented it as facts, repeatedly saying, "The history professor is going to prison for the murder of her 4 Idaho students. I'm not worried about the professor suing me because she will be using her resources to fight for murder cases." But the truth was, the professor never taught Kaylee or any of her 5 roommates. According to her, she had never even met them. Plus, she had an alibi. During the weekend of the murders, she was in Portland, Oregon, with her husband. But Ashley's public campaign against the professor had kickstarted a toxic gossip train that was now at full speed and not so easily stopped by facts and logic. Ashley was benefiting from the professor's misery, getting more and more public attention with every video. The 100-plus TikToks she posted of the professor ended up getting millions of views and 20,000 new followers. Instead of being harassed, they are asking for help. Every day, the history professor received hundreds of threats, forcing her to take up to the top in her daily life that will family circle. Her name is now linked to the word "no" in internet searches. The professor's reputation had been so seriously affected by the allegations that she pursued the file of defamation lawsuit against Ashley Dion. At this point, the police had completely lost control of the online world. It was expected that it would help the sympathy of case, that these kids had the sleeps that repeatedly speak new limits, accusing anyone and begging people that they were looking for that week, ruining lives in the process. So the Moscow police issued their most direct statement yet, hoping to end the chaos. Investigators have been monitoring online activity related to this ongoing and active case and are aware of the large amount of rumors and misinformation being shared, as well as harassing and threatening behavior toward potentially involved parties. Anyone engaging in threats or harassment, whether in person, online, or otherwise, needs to understand that they could be subjecting themselves to criminal charges. Moscow Police Department cautions the public not to rely on rumors and remains committed to keeping this person fair. The old reliance on official claims for accurate information. But that's the problem. If the claims are releasing anything new, they have clearly failed to find several tools, like the case's alleged connection to a skin bone, other subjects, that revealed no sign of public accountability of victims of the investigation was progressing. But one, December 7th, 3 weeks into the investigation, was finally released by the country leader. Moscow police recalled the information about a white-claimed weapon between 13 and Alaska had been seen near the house around the time of the murders. They gave no further information. Within 24 hours, the Moscow Police Department was overwhelmed with tips from news on the call, receiving so many that they had reported the call to an FBI center. But the same websites, the delayed request for information was another red flag for the investigation. Why did it take so long to begin to look for the right number? Every this information had been collected very early, based on tips received in the neighborhood. If it was some footage that was taken from neighbor's camera, I also feel like that doesn't take a long process. But what could have made them decide to look for a deep criminal? Companies sifting through 6,000 tips and videos along with references for upwards of 8 movies. And that's why it took some time now, isn't it? They had spent the entire week focused on cars, looking for any knocking vehicles in the area, and photos and kids. They broke down and made the difference between users, the distinctive rear lights, anything to remotely unique about the concept. But the car didn't work to use the people they had. On December 18th, as the investigation 6 weeks began, a Facebook group dedicated to the case posted an exclusive new video. Surveillance footage showed Haley and Madison walking down the street 10 days before the murders, talking with someone new. The clip went viral, with media outlets and content creators spreading it out as evidence helped identify the mysterious Adam. You could have seen identifying as a person in the local state, but he never intentionally acted back. It was the criminal language, and again, he went to see. The online series indicate their next top suspect because the community had hired victims. He was the potential for Katie's ex-boyfriend, Jack, the man sunbathing through the film. Those who have been treated by the police. I saw somewhere that Adam is Kaylee's ex Jack's friend. Maybe that's why they were calling Jack so many times. They had a bad situation with this Adam. They also report Adam no longer works at the bar. This doesn't make him a person of interest or anything, but this whole thing could implicate Jack. I'm still skeptical he did this. Maybe he's having fear. The bar and Rick received to receive a dramatic phone call from online investigators in newspapers. People who identified themselves as journalists reported that even began following employees on their phone phone, hoping to gather exclusive information on the case. But then, on December 10th, the police confirmed that Kevin was not suspect in the investigation. Despite being robbed once again, began was undisputed and quickly pivoted to focus speculation on a four-year lawsuit repeated across from the victim, appeared on TV multiple times, not about the names. The death is awkwardness on point, though, and suspicious. Have you watched the interviews of one over the phone? Because you know murder. That was the true right of the defendant concept. Life isn't here, but the strange. He also doesn't blink and says, no, I didn't forget it. But strange. And just like that, the stupid window was counted around the clock. The fact that he felt the need to go on record to say how much the victim had deserved his life. They were a forward record. Posting it on Moscow News, they begged the community to stop harassing. You don't need to stop blaming me for something I had nothing to do with. There are examples, special ways, breathe some fresh air, touch some grass, and stop trying to pin this on me simply because I did interviews and didn't fit the exact mold of what you think I should look or sound like. Authorities have cleared the most popular suspects with no explanation or new insights into the case. And while many of them continue and continue to this day, suspecting them is becoming more and more likely that the killer is somebody they have never heard of, possibly with no clear motive. On the morning of December 3rd, 2022, in a quiet residential neighborhood in Scranton, Pennsylvania, a SWAT team moved in on a house and breached the front door. Moments later, they emerged with a 28-year-old man in handcuffs. A man that nobody in the many Idaho 4 sleuthing communities had ever mentioned or even heard of before the news broke. Yet there he was, being led into a squad car, identified as the prime suspect in the Moscow murders, while the people who chased this case from the beginning responded with a resounding, who? Because while the internet had been chasing its tail, the professionals had quietly found their prime suspect using methods far more sophisticated than crowdsourced gossip and guesswork. The long-term skeptics of internet sleuthing took their chance to make sure everyone knew how much of a failure social media's hunt for the killer had been thus far. Obligatory true crime note after arrest. Reddit/online sleuthing added absolutely nothing in this case, and instead dox/harassment to people, which is the exact same cycle for every event that the true crime community latches onto. They're not wrong. While online communities help solve cases, as by providing authorities with valuable information, online witch hunts fueled by speculation and theory crafting have never been helpful and only end up causing harm to innocent people. Meanwhile, the authorities had an advantage thanks to evidence that those on the internet never would have been able to access. Physical DNA. The unknown perpetrator had been so careless in his crimes that the police found multiple pieces of DNA evidence to tie it all back to him. The first and most crucial was a tan leather knife sheath left behind at the crime scene. This Kabar knife sheath contained a single source of male DNA on its button strap, the first critical piece of evidence in the case. The FBI loaded the DNA profile from the knife sheath onto publicly available genealogy sites, building family trees of the genetic relatives to the suspect's DNA. They sent the information to the FBI as a tip, convinced they had identified their prime suspect. But although investigators were confident that the killer and the man whose DNA was on the knife sheath were one and the same, they would need more evidence pointing in this direction before coming to any conclusion. They were cautious and methodical, a drastic contrast to the internet, which had essentially spent over a month pointing fingers at the gun. Law enforcement had collected massive amounts of surveillance footage from businesses and residences around the crime scene. Footage at a gas station showed that a white 2011-2013 Hyundai Elantra had been driving in the area, circling the neighborhood several times in the hour before the killings. Police announced publicly December 7th that they were seeking confidence of this vehicle, stating that they were confident the person had information that is critical to the case. The authorities ended up reviewing approximately 22,000 registered white Hyundai Elantras, including one that was registered to a man who was at the center of that DNA family tree. Authorities looked at cell phone tower data, which revealed that the suspect's phone had connected to towers in the area of the crime scene 23 times over the 4 months leading up to the murders, all occurring between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. The suspect lived 8 miles away in Pullman, Washington, and had no clear reason to make that journey so often. But on the night of the murders, around 2:47 a.m., The suspect's phone was in Pullman, then suddenly stopped connecting to the network as surveillance video captured his car leaving his apartment. 2 hours later, at 4:48 a.m., his phone reconnected south of Moscow, showing him headed back toward Pullman. That window lined up perfectly with the known timeline of the murders. By late December 2022, the suspect had already become a person of interest. Even if the authorities were not sharing that information publicly, they still needed something undeniable to justify the arrest, and any hint to the public of how close they were could prompt the suspect to flee. FBI agents from Philadelphia field office established surveillance of his parents' Pennsylvania home, where he had traveled to for winter break. During the several day-long stakeout, they observed the suspect exit the house carrying trash bags while wearing surgical gloves and placing them into a neighbor's garbage can. He also cleaned his car inside and out, methodically scrubbing every inch. As soon as the local sanitation departments collected his trash, it was immediately handed over to the FBI. That trash was flown to the Idaho State Police Forensics Laboratory for analysis, where lab experts found a used Q-tip with DNA identified as belonging to the suspect's father. They ran it against the killer's DNA from the sheet and confirmed that this was the biological father of their killer. They now had concrete biological evidence. This man was almost certainly their killer. On December 30th, 2022, Ethan, Zaina, Madison, and Kaylee's murderer was arrested at his parents' Pennsylvania home. According to the police, when he was arrested, the murderer had only one question: who else did you arrest? Fortunately, the answer was nobody, but they had their perpetrator with no doubt whatsoever. Just to be sure, the authorities took a cheek swab, comparing his DNA with that found on the sheet. The outcome was undeniable. The STR profile is at least 5.37 octillion times more likely to be seen if the defendant is the source than if an unrelated individual randomly selected from the general population is the source. This meant that the online manhunt could stop. Right? If only the internet worked that way. While most people accepted that their theories were wrong, some refused to abandon them. As one Reddit user observed, people were completely convinced that random people in the town or in the victims' lives were the culprits. When the perpetrator was arrested, I think that a lot of them did not want to face the fact that maybe they were wrong. But some were on the fence. Amateur internet detectives believed that there were still unresolved questions, and any rumor that sounded even half true was a lead to follow. After the perpetrator's arrest, rumors surfaced online that he had been at Adam's bar on the night he committed the murders. That claim developed into an entire narrative, but the perpetrator had been removed from the bar for inappropriate behavior and had even stalked or interacted with the victims there. Take this user on Twitter. So the perpetrator hits on Kaylee and Maddie at the bar. They rejected him, were more into each other. He follows them home and violently stabs them. No evidence has been found of this occurring, but regardless, the bar received a second wave of abuse and was flooded with phone calls from online sleuths demanding more information about the incident. The harassment became so overwhelming that they were forced to make a statement on social media. Suspect was not and has not been here. No one was removed from the bar the evening of the incident. Stop calling us. But they weren't only talking about the online sleuths. This is about ABC, NBC News, CBC News, Fox News, CNN too. The below tweet is in direct response to one of the above stopping by to do a story on something we know not to be true. So to protect someone from another round of doxing, we spoke out. The bar's request was met with immediate pushback from users. Whatever. Your issues with people calling you are not a single portion of what the families of these murdered children are dealing with. Sorry for your slight inconvenience, morons. You're a garbage dive bar in a garbage college town. Stay in your lane. Keep your mouth shut and deal with the mild inconvenience. You'll be back to serving $2 Coors Lights in no time. And trash. The bar stopped responding to these reactions, believing that they were only feeding the fire. But seeing the ongoing aggression, some users stepped in to show support. Idaho in here. So sorry for the harassment everyone is experiencing. I've only heard good things about the establishment from people who have actually been there. I am so sorry you and the rest of the staff are having to deal with this harassment on top of grieving with the rest of the community. I can't believe people actually call. Like, the audacity. And just 2 days later, the truth finally came out. On January 5th, 2023, the probable cause affidavit was unsealed, detailing the police's investigation en route to identifying the perpetrator as the masked stranger who entered the house that night. It was the first time the public was informed of everything that happened that night, how one of the survivors had actually seen the masked intruder walk right into the sliding glass door of the house and committing the murders. Explain the DNA evidence, the investigation into the cop, the phone data, and every step of their process. For months now, the public, including the victims' families, have been criticizing the Moscow Police Department for their apparent cluelessness. The lack of public information and the slow pace of the investigation had created an information vacuum that led many to believe police were simply not doing their jobs. However, the affidavit proved otherwise, detailing every aspect of the focused and extensive investigation authorities had conducted. But even though the culprit had been caught, he still needed to be found guilty in court. At his arraignment on May 22nd, 2023, the perpetrator took the stand for the first time. Yet despite the overwhelming evidence stacked against him, the perpetrator did not enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. Instead, his attorney told the judge, "Your Honor, you're standing silent." In the legal world, standing silent is an uncommon but legal strategy where a defendant chooses not to enter a plea. It's an attempt by the defendant to keep options open for potential negotiations later, like pleading guilty to avoid the death penalty. Under Idaho criminal rules, when this happens, the judge is required to enter a not guilty plea on the defendant's behalf. For the next 2 years, the perpetrator and his attorney would maintain their silence. But on July 2nd, 2025, weeks before the trial was set to begin, everything changed. During the pre-trial hearing, the perpetrator was asked if he had murdered all 4 victims. He said yes, pleading guilty as part of a plea deal. He showed no emotion throughout, even as victims' families struggled to stop crying. Dylan Mortensen, one of the surviving roommates, added, "I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stop shaking. It's far beyond anxiety. It's my body reliving everything over and over again. My nervous system never got the message that it was over. I won't let me forget what he did to them." But the perpetrator's plea deal worked. It spared him from the death penalty in exchange for 4 consecutive life sentences without parole. Kaylee Gunkov's family expressed the strongest opposition on the lack of death sentence, posting on Facebook, "It's true. We are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time. This was very unexpected. We appreciate all your love and support." They accused prosecutors of making a deal with the devil and criticized the timing, saying they were given insufficient notice to process or object to the agreement. Despite pleading guilty and facing life in prison, the perpetrator never explained why he did any of this. The internet has its own theories, but only he knows why he did it. And it's likely that even if we were told, we could never truly understand the motive behind his unthinkable acts. There are many instances where web sleuthing actually yields positive results. Take a case like the internet's hunt for the man who posted videos online of himself torturing and killing kittens and later a human. Through his photos and videos, a group of amateur Facebook investigators managed to track him down long before the police identified him. But that investigation was led mainly by 2 level-headed people, following a focused and logic-based process. Nobody was accused until there was credible, clear evidence to back it up. By the time they went to the police, they had a dossier of evidence to support their claims. The case of the Idaho 4 was an absolute disaster by comparison. A disorganized, emotional mob accusing anybody and everybody with no evidence to back the claims up. From the outset of this case, the police messaging was confusing, and the lack of communication indicating any progress amplified the fear felt by people in the Moscow community and online. Knowing there's a killer on the loose and having a police force that appears to be uncoordinated and lacking a sense of urgency did not inspire any confidence in the community. It was inevitably going to lead to the public's desperate, panicked efforts to take matters into their own hands. But this case highlighted a unique, modern problem. Social media. The algorithm rewarded and promoted sensationalized, controversial content on TikTok and other platforms over actual fact-based reporting. It promoted absurd theories and wild accusations, allowing the creators to profit from blatant, reputation-destroying slander. The more negative, fearful emotions the content could stir up, the more interactions it got, and the more those provocative videos got pushed. It's a typical true crime cycle. Most of us don't live in Moscow, Idaho, and only ever saw it through our screens. When a case is dramatized and sensationalized, the tragedy stops feeling real. Through rumors and theories, spurned exes or random hoodie guys, the story gets presented as a mystery to be pieced together for fun. We forget that these are people because we're caught up in wanting to solve the puzzle. If this case teaches us anything, it's that whether you're a content creator or consumer, engaging in online speculation about someone committing a crime has real-world consequences. One of the most extreme examples in this case is the TikTok psychic Ashley Giard, who falsely accused the University of Idaho professor of orchestrating the murders. The professor's defamation lawsuit against Ashley reached a resolution in 2025, with the court finding Ashley liable for defamation. No information was released on any settlement or damages paid, but all of Ashley's efforts to countersue have been dismissed, and she is continually threatened to flee the country and head to Bali. Ashley did what so many social media users did with this tragedy. They treated human suffering as an opportunity to theory craft for their own amusement and personal gain, and in the process, caused even more human suffering. Bethany, one of the surviving roommates who was accused by the mob early on in the investigation, has suffered psychological trauma as a result. At the trial, her statement by a friend. Her words gave a valuable look into the experience of someone on the other end of the accusations. I still carry so much regret and guilt for not knowing what happened and not calling right away, even though I understand it wouldn't have changed anything. Not even if the paramedics had been right outside the door. Social media made it so much worse, and strangers made up stories to entertain themselves. The media harassed not just me, but also my family. People showed up at our house. They called my phone, my parents' phones, other family members' phones, and we were chased while I was still trying to survive emotionally and grieve the loss of my friends. You may have noticed that in this video, we did not name or show the killer's face. This is part of our continued effort to report on cases like these as ethically as possible. Our goal is to avoid giving people like Ethan, Sana, Madison, and Kaylee's killer any more of a spotlight than the media has already given. If you'd like to know more about why we are doing this, watch our video on the kitten killer case that we discussed earlier. In it, we discussed the importance of the no notoriety in detail. Link will be in the description. And if you would like to show your appreciation to the people whose hard work made this video possible, then consider hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. It's the best thing you can do to help us make more videos, like this one about a case the FBI is asking the internet to solve after failing for 26 years. Click the video on your screen now to hear the full story.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Japanese. Vodka oven and bring. Yes. Hello, Jill. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, bitch.
What's your AI name, Rusty Unicorn?
Sydney_chicken.
Oh.
I just tried it. I was years ago, actually. I was a member like 10 years ago. But I just joined again.
Everybody always comes back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm surprised it still exists about that. Mit den gewaschenen Haaren sieht aber auch. Oh. Wenn sie nass ist. Mhm. We are this simping in German. When we say something in German, we're simping about the characters, main characters. Also, mit Death ist es viel besser aus. Tausendmal besser. Zurückgegelten, ich weiß nicht, ob es zurückgegelte Haare sind, aber die sehen zurückgegelt aus. Nee, ich glaube, einfach nur weil die nass sind, hängen die runter. Aber ich glaube nicht, dass der die nicht zurückgeht. Ich glaube, die sind getrocknet einfach nur so fried. Wisst ihr, was ich meine? Weil die blondiert sind. Ganz klar. Aber sieht besser aus so. Oh, stell dir den mal vor mit schwarzen Haaren. Oh. Man kann einfach weiter machen. Aber seine Haare sind immer noch so. Geil. Ich will aufhören, seine Haare sind noch. Ja. Ja. Jetzt waren schon ein paar Tage wieder zu Hause. Wild? Ja, das ist halt einfach so eine Redhead-Frisur. Ich glaube, der kämmt die irgendwie zurück in der Schule gegen einfach gepflegter sind vielleicht. Ja. Bei der Frisur denke ich mal an so vom Berlin. Und die Jungs das gerade hatten, diese Igelfrisur. Nee, meinst du, wo die Jungs von die Haare so zurückgegelt haben? Nee, wo die, was war das? Also man macht das an die Haare vielleicht? So zackig? Ja, Igelfrisur. Nee, das meinst du. Hä? Das ist so ein Haarband. Was ist ein Haarband? Aber das hat doch nicht jeder Junge. Also ich weiß, glaube ich, was die meint, aber das hat nicht alle Jungs gemacht. Ja, das hat nicht jeder gemacht. Aber das kann halt mal Ausnahmen, dass mal einer so ein Haarband hat. Ja, ja. Ah, okay. Also ich weiß, was sie meint. Ich hab das Bild dazu im Kopf, aber ich weiß nicht, wie man das lässt. Das glaube ich. Wieder seine Haare scheiße gemacht haben. Mal ins Auftrauen. fühlt sich schon ein bisschen an wie ein Date, oder? Ich stelle mir ihn die ganze Zeit mit den platten Haaren vor. Auch, ich würde ihn auch so nehmen. Ich mag seine Art. Ja. What?
Smells like food. Chương trình chơi cái bệnh gì mà cần. Can I add you to your bag contact?
Wow.
Ja, und jetzt? Jetzt keine Ahnung. So noch eine Folge packe ich mit. Gut. Muss man kommen mit dieser schon wieder. Man muss morgen arbeiten. Mitte. Ich bin fertig. So.
Ja. There's a new restaurant here. I think I'm gonna go for dinner.
Or you're going for what's wrong?
Yeah, for a restaurant is a new one.
What time? What time's great?
I'm trying to get, it's called Japanese soul. Focus, I'm sorry. It's Japanese cuisine.
Okay, that sounds good.
Brand called South Oakland. Not fair enough.
How's the Japanese food in California?
Really good. People have a lot of Japanese immigrants who've been here for generations.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Japanese food's just getting popular recently now, like the last few months. Usually we just do sushi, so we have a lot of Asian days. Yeah. Enjoy.
Yeah, I'm afraid I was about problem with
Yes. Oh.
You guys enjoy Lion?
Yeah, totally.
Let's take it here. Sounds like you enjoyed the ride in the end.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too much.
Whoa, whoa.
Well, okay, you're really slow with typing. I think you can be faster. Well, the typing games, I need some slave. Yeah. Oh, really? That must be fun. How did your speed increase? Yes. So much better knowledge. Oh, that's bigger. Oh. Wow. Oh, another mistake. And when I seem nervous, faster. Expression. These fingers are hurting me. But the thing is extreme funky. Ja, ich weiß bei dem Mann nicht, warum der überhaupt nicht. Ey, ganz ehrlich, manchmal guckst du den die ganze Zeit zu und der sagt einfach gar nichts. So für 30 Minuten oder so. Es ist nur ein zockendes Spiel. Und sie denken, Digi, also ich kann auch verstehen, warum der einfach nicht zu Zuschauern kommt. Nur weil wir einfach Bock da zuzugucken. Ne? Ja. Was? Ja. Okay. That's not what I expected of you. I expected better than this. So many mistakes. On a no problem. Oh, another mistake, yo. Another mistake. Doesn't seem like any of them.
beef stew sounds good. Sounds like a midnight snack. Enjoy yourself, sir.
No, I just walked in the time for a while. That's not great. Right, I can show you the therapy that I did, and I still have to link the wind. Yeah, I think that the prayer that I started out with is that the wind was way too big because of the it didn't fit the camera. The berry that I have now, that is pet berry. And I basically modded this one out of the other one, and then I added the texture. And the wings are not done yet, but I also have the problem that ich habe die Dinge, die Flügel, habe ich ja hier rausgenommen. Ne? Und ich weiß nur, dass ich mache, wenn ich übermale, ne? Dann kommt hier immer ne? Und dann überträgst du das noch, aber das ist doch ja mal ein Tisch, ne? Ich weiß nicht, warum das jetzt, weil ich mache nicht so wurde. Ja, und wenn ich dann hier mache, dann erscheint das hier. Ich weiß nicht, woran das liegt. Ich kann es nicht vorbei. Ich will auch gar nicht so gut vielleicht bereuen, aber es muss so von Grund auf einmal selber machen. Und die sind laut, das ist immer weiter haben. Also die Cloud-Änderung, wie gesagt, ist ja überarbeitet. Aber ja, von Grund auf eigentlich selber machen. Vielleicht ist der auch nicht mehr für die Scheinführung. Die kommen auch noch weg, da kommt noch neue Zugeräte. Aber es geht einfach auf die Stelle, dass ich halt noch was habe, so 2 Tage oder so, womit ich halt nicht gehen kann, weißt du, was ich meine? Hä? halt keinen Fehler, ne? Meistens stirbt nicht so viel an der selber und erstmal direkt.
Gucken wir mal, wer da gegen Ausdrücke denken.
So, das gut. Aber das Gesicht ist halt auch wieder so ein bisschen anders, ne? Ach so! Also mir gefällt es richtig gut. Womit meinst du das eigentlich? Vielleicht praktisch in der Welt. Und das hatte was gekostet, ne? Monatskosten bezahlen oder was? Einmal. Dann halt das Update macht. Also bei jeder von Level Kilo-Packung hat sich auch gekauft. Hat 50 Euro. Und das hat sich gekauft. Wenn ich das habe, kam halt die neue Version raus. Also das ist noch frei. Hier, das ist ja. Und für die neue Version wollte sie halt einen Aufpreis haben. Und der ganz oft ist es ja so, dass du halt monatlich für die Zahlen bekommst. Aber wenn ich das monatliche Zahlen-Abo hätte ich jetzt schon mehr bezahlt, als wenn ich einzeln oder jetzt einmal das komplette gekauft und die komplette Version plus die Upgrade-Version. Da ist es immer noch billiger, ne? Als jetzt den Preis nehmen wollen. Ja, nee, ich weiß nicht, als Marketing, weil rein theoretisch kommst du halt im Blender als eigentlich mit Blender bewerben kannst. Gibt da das vorgestern und der dran. Und so hat ja einfach, also bevor ich das anfangen konnte, einen Job will, musste ich erstmal komplett von Grund auf alles lernen, also wie du raus und rein, wie das Ding einfach nicht Ton oder so, weil ich noch Konzentration jeden Tag noch das andere Situation da rein, weil irgendwie Scheiß oder so. Und dann alles, dann alles macht komplett für den Podcast. Und was der muss vielleicht mit dem Körper. Und wenn du das als wenn es neu ist, mit spannend ist, das hat Date, mit dem Frauen warum. Es hat so lange gebraucht, bis ich gecheckt habe, dass ich die ich habe erst gedacht, das war die Film, das ist das andere, ne? Das ist man nicht auch aber nicht hier, ich habe gedacht, das halt irgendwie das mal eigentlich noch gut. Und so, das ist jetzt da. Ich habe jetzt nur diesen einen Instagram für den Leuten. So. Klappt doch wieder, ne? Ja. Wenn ich jetzt quasi in der Arbeiten bin, also jetzt nur, also das läuft, das macht jetzt und überarbeiten, dann hast du hier irgendwo, weil das umgekehrt dann. Und dann hat als erstes dann mal die Dauer ausgeführt, dann sagen, vielleicht hast du hier einen Punkt, was nicht ist. Was da, was so auch sein, das ist die Frage, weil du das hast eingegeben, diese einzelnen Tipps vor, und ja, ich habe gedacht, also ich wusste das nicht, ich war auch nie so das Fall. Und habe einfach Anfang nicht einzeln alle jetzt nicht mehr, die halt verändern, also irgendwas, und dann vielen damals gemacht. Muss man aber gar nicht, weil so viele Optionen kommen, zum Beispiel, wenn ich das Leben das hat alles nicht. So. Dann auch, dass man das jetzt trennen kann, dass ich dann den kompletten Rudel nehmen kann und den kleiner machen kann, einfach so. Wie lange ist doch was gebraucht, Wahnsinn. Weil ich glaube, wenn man wirklich die Tricks alle raus hat, ist gut, dass du so ein ganzes Element zum Beispiel kopieren kannst oder so einfach, ne, und das irgendwie in der Ebene ansetzen kannst. Wenn das alles raus hat, ich glaube, dann ist es einfach. Ich glaube, man muss erstmal diese ganzen Stages und diese Sachen machen und das raus. Da kannst du aber echt, dann Bock auf echt, also was hier alles kriegt, kannst du auch kann auch jede Fläche einzeln anmalen oder in der verschiedenen Oberflächen, so Metallen und Oberflächen, also so Bauoberflächen, wo kannst du alles einstellen. Also du kannst dir alles ganz, das ist ganz angekommen, wenn ich will, kann man ja auch Animationen machen. Das heißt, ich habe jetzt keine Bewegung, das heißt, schon Filter, den ich dann, wenn ich mal nicht aufwenden will, dass ich halt die Füße bewegt oder so. Und da bin ich jetzt gerade mit der somit, dass ich den Fall als während ich halt also das Gefühl sich halt die ganze Zeit von alleine bewegt, das ist halt vorbei. Dass ich dann da wieder sehen muss, dieses Bewegen, wenn man das jetzt nur allein kann. Und wenn man dann sehe, Jetzt hat mich jetzt fertig.
you